on the ad interim appointment of Mr. John Ruelo Castriciones as Secretary, Department of Agrarian Reform. The Chair would like to inform the body that since this is a continuation of the previous hearing, the quorum established last hearing remains. The Chair, however, acknowledges the presence of our Senator representatives. Um, um, well, we have Senator Ping Lacson, Senator Mig Zubiri, Senator Risa Hontiveros, Congressman Ronnie Zamora, Congressman Albano, Congresswoman Cortuna, Congresswoman Sato, Congresswoman Ocampo, Congressman Gatchalian, and Congressman Salambayan. May we invite Secretary Castriciones to please take his seat in front. The appointee is reminded that he is still under oath. The parliamentary status for the Committee on Agrarian Reform. The Committee on Agrarian Reform held a hearing on March 14, 2018 during the second regular session of the 17th Congress to deliberate on the ad interim appointment of Mr. John Ruelo Castriciones as Secretary, Department of Agrarian Reform. The committee heard the opposition of Rep. Tomasito Villarin to the ad interim appointment of Mr. Castriciones as Secretary. Rep. Villarin opposed Mr. Castriciones' appointment on the grounds that, number one, the appointee lacks qualifications, special training, and previous record experience on agrarian reform. Two, the appointee's failure to install a farmer beneficiaries with certificates of land ownership awards. Three, the appointee's dismissal from the Philippine Military Academy after his involvement in a hazing incident. And fourth, the appointee's act of filing a libel case against the reporter. The appointee responded that he is qualified to hold the position of secretary. He has handled agrarian cases for farmer beneficiaries and landowners as a practicing lawyer for 26 years. And coming from a family of farmers himself, he knows the sentiments of farmers. The chair, Representatives Cortuna, Sato, Halosos, and Senators Hontiveros and Pacquiao directed questions and queries to the appointee. The questions and queries touched on the appointment's qualification, training, and experience as Secretary of Agrarian Reform, his strategies in order to expedite agrarian cases, status of acquisition and distribution of lands, and reclassification or conversion of lands and its disposition. The committee directed the appointee, Secretary Castriciones, to submit the following documents. Number one, list of agrarian cases which the appointee handled for the landowners and farmer beneficiaries. 2. Disposition and resolution of these cases. 3. Comprehensive plan of strategy as Secretary of Department of Agrarian Reform. And 4. The duration of the agrarian reform programs. As moved, the members agreed that due to lack of material time, the meeting was suspended until today, the 21st of March. No recommendation has yet been accepted on the confirmation of the ad interim appointment of Mr. Castriciones as Secretary of Department of Agrarian Reform. This is the parliamentary status. The Chair would like to acknowledge also the presence of Congressman Almario. The appointee is now ready to respond to any more questions or questions from the members. May we now proceed with the questions and inquiries from the members of the committee. Again, I would like to remind you, sir, that you were under oath. You are under oath. May we begin with I think from the last.
Madam Chair, do we have the documents already? Did the Secretary submit the documents to us already? Do we have copies of the document?
We have some partial documents that we've already received.
Can we be furnished with copies, please?
Right now, the list of agrarian cases, there was one case, only one case, the heirs of Viuda de Crame versus Enriquez, handled by appointee during his private practice. Appointee submitted a copy of the case file but without a disposition. Notably, he was counsel for the landowners here, praying for the cancellation of the CLOA of the farmer tenants. And then for the disposition and resolution of these cases, Senator Lacson, I think, asked for this. There's none. Appointee did not submit the disposition of the case. And for the comprehensive plan of strategy as Secretary for Agrarian Reform, the appointee submitted the following: the DAR Admin Order Number 2, streamlining the cancellation of emancipation patents, CLOAs, and other titles issued under the Agrarian Reform Program, and 2, the PowerPoint titled The Secretaryship of Attorney John Castriciones. For the duration of agrarian reform programs, which was asked by Congresswoman Sato, there was none submitted. Strategies and mechanisms for the farmers, there was, again, the same PowerPoint submitted regarding housing, TESDA training for children and wives. Instead, he submitted the following affidavit from Rep. Teodoro Montosoro, Ascenso Party List, averring that appointee was counsel and founder of Biyayang Bukid Party List. The Pro-Farmers Party List was delisted in 2010. Number 2, Mr. Oscar Pialogo, incumbent chairman of Farmers and Fisherfolk Sector of the Mayor Rodrigo Roa Duterte National Executive Coordinating Council and other farmer groups. Mr. Pialogo avers that he saw appointees' advocacy towards farmers who asked legal advice from the appointee. And then 3, from Attorney David Aquino, former student of appointee in Arellano Law. Attorney Aquino avers that he consulted appointee in the drafting of his book, Darab Rules of Procedure Annotated, that is due to come out this June. And 4th, Attorney Paulo Quazon, Head Executive Assistant of Appointee. Attorney Quazon avers that he consulted appointee during his stint as Political Affairs Officer for Rep. Ramos Villarica when he was consultant of the DAR. And last, Attorney Jason Collado, consultant of appointee. Attorney Collado avers that he regularly consulted appointee in the following agrarian reform cases. In an agrarian reform case for the Santos Estate landowner, Cabanilla Humilde versus Spouses Season, other agrarian reform related cases. Note that the above cases were handled by Attorney Collado and not of appointee. In sum, above affidavits aver that they informally consulted appointee on various agrarian reform related cases. There were no formal engagement as counsel and no mentions of periods. Thus, it is hard to say whether appointee has complied with the requirement of Section 50 of the Agricultural Land Reform Code, as will be gleaned by our honorable members of the CA. We will now proceed with our questions in order of as requested. First, we will have Rep. Joel Mayo Almari.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Secretary, I have a few questions here, and I'll start off with the question that I raised during the confirmation hearing of your predecessor, Secretary Rafael Mariano. The DAR Secretary sits at the Board of Directors of Land Bank. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now, to my mind, the failure, and I think it's a failure, of the CARP program is the lack of financial support to the farmer beneficiaries, for which the Land Bank was established specifically to extend financial support. But then, as you can see, the loan portfolio of Land Bank now, it has already embarked on a massive salary loan program to teachers, not anymore to the farmers, as these farmers are considered by them as non-bankable. What can you say about that since once confirmed you will be sitting at the board?
Madam Chair and the honorable members of the Commission on Appointments. Your Honor, with the short period of time that I have been sitting as the Secretary of the Department, I have made representations already with the President of Land Bank, Mr. Alex Berventura, and I brought to him the issues or these concerns, Your Honor, on how we would be able to more or less enhance the support to farmer beneficiaries, Your Honor. I believe that your position is right, Your Honor, that there must be an enhancement in the support of farmer beneficiaries in relation to the help and assistance that must be accorded to by Land Bank, Your Honor.
Are you assuring us that once you are confirmed, you will work for Land Bank to re-engineer its loan programs and put more focus on the farmer beneficiaries?
Yes, Your Honor. As a matter of fact, there's a certain case, Your Honor, which at this point in time is the subject of the deliberation, Your Honor. And this involves actually, Your Honor, the case of the Harbco case, Your Honor, wherein the cooperative of the farmer beneficiaries, Your Honor, would like to secede or would like to nullify, Your Honor, their contract with Lapanday, Your Honor. And in view of this, Your Honor, there is an arrangement right now, Your Honor, that there is a company, Your Honor, that is coming in wherein they would pay all the debts incurred by the farmer beneficiaries, and they will assume all the debts, Your Honor. And there has been a negotiation, Your Honor, as to how we would be able to increase the so-called benefits and the salaries of the farmer beneficiaries, Your Honor. And this has already been, this company is the DANA Corporation, Your Honor, and they have been subjected to inquiry, Your Honor, as to how they would be able to really support the so-called program that they have been proposing, Your Honor. And we have tackled this extensively with Land Bank of the Philippines, Your Honor. As a matter of fact, this has also been presented in the Park Execom, of which I am the chairman, Your Honor. And the representatives of the farmer beneficiaries and also the landowners, Your Honor, to include the different departments of the government, Your Honor, have seated and have agreed, Your Honor, that we will elevate the matter to the park, Your Honor, so that the park proper, of which the President is the head, Your Honor, will be able to approve as to whether or not this kind of arrangement will push through or not, Your Honor.
That was a very lengthy reply, but I just would like to get your confirmation that majority of the loan portfolio of Land Bank will now be spent to support financially our farmer beneficiaries.
That will be my
Thank you.
advocacy, Your Honor.
Now, let me go to the budget of the Department of Agrarian Reform for 2018, for which I am sure that you had no participation in preparing this budget. Now, you have a 3.8 billion available for Beneficiaries Development and Sustainability Program. And it says in the GAA, the General Appropriations Act, it says Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program and the Agriculture and Fisheries Modernization Program in support of the programs and projects of the AFMP. Now, can you tell us more about that?
Your Honor, we would like to more or less enhance the support that we will be extending to our farmer beneficiaries, to include those farmer beneficiaries which are actually involved in the fishing industry, Your Honor. And we would like to more or less come up with some sort of a plan, Your Honor. That's why I have already seated with the undersecretaries concerned, particularly under the support group, Your Honor, on how we would be able to more or less enhance the so-called delivery of more assistance and support to our farm beneficiaries. And I suppose, Your Honor, that by the end of this this month, Your Honor, we will be able to come up with some projects, Your Honor, that will truly support our farmer beneficiaries, Your Honor. And in addition to this, Your Honor, we also have foreign assisted projects, Your Honor, and I think this amounts to uh, based on the existing projects that we have, Your Honor, just like the Converge, the Minsaad, and the Italian-supported projects, Your Honor, that this will somehow enhance, Your Honor, the so-called support to our farmer beneficiaries, Your Honor, on that regard.
Now, your undersecretaries are all here.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, can you instruct one of them or whoever's in charge to give us now the list of projects under that program as we speak, so that later on we can take a look at it before we uh, uh, suspend or terminate your confirmation hearing in this
Yes,
committee.
Your Honor. I have here with me, Your Honor, Yusek Rose Bistoyong, under the support group, Your Honor.
Does
Support services.
she have the copy now of that list? May I ask that the list be furnished to the committee and to this representation so that I can take a look at it?
We will submit, Your
Okay,
Honor.
let me now go next to my other concern. This is the Tulay ng Pangulo, which has been stalled for 6 years in the previous administration, and when Kapaeng assumed office, he revived it and gave instructions to implement it. May I know the status of this Tulay ng Pangulo?
Right now, Your Honor, as I was informed by our undersecretary for the support group, Your Honor, this is now currently being implemented, Your Honor, and we are now identifying, Your Honor. Actually, there has been an identification of all the so-called beneficiaries for this Tulay ng Pangulo, and we are in the process of coordinating with the local government units concerned, Your Honor, as to how we would be able to implement the same, Your Honor.
Mr. Secretary, let me inform you that that was the reply of your predecessor, former Secretary Mariano, and I am sure that even with the change of leadership at the helm of the department, your undersecretaries, your directors have been, looking at this program Tuloy ng Pangulo. So if that is still the situation right now, as it was 6 months ago, then there's nothing moving. I can tell because in my district, it's always for evaluation about the same bridge as I have been told in August 14, 2017. If it is still for evaluation at this time, then nothing has been running.
Your Honor, despite the fact that I have been only few months in office, Your Honor, I saw to it, Your Honor, that all pending projects that need to be implemented, Your Honor, must be implemented. And so I have already given my undersecretaries the strict order, Your Honor, that these so-called projects which have been stalled, Your Honor, must be properly implemented, Your Honor. And I would like to...
Do you have a timeline on that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Kasi 6 years siyang hindi gumalaw, pinagalaw ni Kapaeng, but up to now, wala pa nangyayari.
I would immediately implement the same, Your Honor, because that is my advocacy also, Your Honor, to help our farmer beneficiaries.
Madam Chair, Mr. Secretary, the reason why I brought this up, because I was informed last year that the number of bridges identified under this program has been decreasing due to the cost of materials. So, for each day delayed, there is a threat of further decrease of the number of bridges. And the farmer beneficiaries in those areas are the ultimate victims of this delay.
Your Honor, I will see to it that this will not be delayed, Your Honor.
Let me go back to your budget in the General Appropriations Act of 2018. You have an amount of 3.4 billion to be used for land acquisition and distribution. Do you confirm that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, can you tell this body, Mr. Secretary, the relationship between this amount and the life of the land acquisition and distribution, because the law has already expired as early as what, 2 years ago?
That was in 20,
20,
2014, Your Honor.
yeah.
2014.
And there are pending bills now in Congress so that the department can again resume land acquisition. But I don't know with the Senate, but at the House of Representatives, the bills are still there. What will now happen to this 3.4 billion if you do not have that legal authority to acquire and distribute?
Your Honor, at this point in time, Your Honor, what the department is implementing, Your Honor, are those lands which have already been previously covered, previous to the expiration of the Carper law, Your Honor. There are still, up to this point in time, around 500 to 600,000 hectares, Your Honor, which need to be acquired and distributed to our farmer beneficiaries, Your Honor.
Yeah, we understand that. And in fact, in the last hearing, you said that your program is to, your timeline is to acquire 50,000 hectares every year.
Yes, Your Honor.
Until you consume, you finish acquiring the 600,000 hectares.
Yes, Your Honor.
But then again, what is your authority to do that when the law allowing you to do that has already expired?
Your Honor, these lands, Your Honor, have actually been the subject of the notice of coverage prior to 2014 or the expiration of the said law, Your Honor. And based on the law, Your Honor, under 66557, we still have the authority to acquire and distribute the same to the farmer beneficiaries, Your Honor. And this has been going on. And in fact, this year, Your Honor, we have already commenced the distribution of the so-called lands which have been acquired, which are still within the jurisdiction of the department as based on Republic Act 6657, Your Honor.
So may mga NOC na to.
Yes, Your Honor.
Let me just say that clear, huh? You have around 600,000 hectares of land already covered with NOC.
Yes, Your Honor.
And the 3.4 billion will be used for this.
That would be on a yearly basis, Your Honor. That would be around 50,000.
The 3.4 billion will be used for the 50,000
Yes, Your Honor.
for 2018.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Let me now go to you. Your role as the MRRD, National Chairman, National President, what do you call that?
The National President of the Mayor Rodrigo Roa Duterte National Executive
Can
Committee.
can you educate us on how that came about? How did the MRRD NECC come about?
Your Honor, as early as 2014, Your Honor, we have been very supportive of the campaign of then Mayor Rodrigo Roa Duterte for federalism, Your Honor. And in view of that, there are several advocacies as well, which the President has actually initiated as early as 2014. And these are the anti-illegal drugs, anti-corruption, anti-criminality, anti-insurgency, and anti-poverty. And in view of this, Your Honor, we went around the country. We went to the farthest areas, Your Honor, and we talked with the people, Your Honor. We consulted with the people. As a matter of fact, Your Honor, this was the springboard why the President was converted, or rather was convinced, Your Honor, to run for the presidency, Your Honor. Because there has been a demand from our people all over the Philippines, Your Honor, that indeed federalism would be one of the most effective ways within which we would be able to enhance the development of our country, Your Honor.
And how do you choose the members of MRRD? You know, Mr. Secretary, this may not be related to your position as DAR Secretary, but I'd like to know, because it will be inevitable that when you are confirmed, you will still tap this organization, probably to help launch your programs.
Yes, Your Honor.
Prior to the talks on the postponement or continuation of or the pushing through of the barangay elections, the realities on the ground is that some of the members of MRRD were told that they will be appointed as barangay officials. This was as early as last year before postponing the October 2017 barangay elections. Some of the members of MRRD are saying that they are now confused because there are already splinter groups from NECC. There is MRRD Aguila. Some of the members are saying that they are required to pay IDs, membership, etc., etc. Now, as I said, this has nothing to do with your being the secretary, but you'll still continue to be the president of MRRD, so this might eat up your time also.
May I respond, Your Honor?
Yes, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Actually, Your Honor, it has never been the policy, Your Honor, of MRD and ECC to collect any amounts of money from its members, Your Honor. As a matter of fact, Your Honor, this movement has existed, Your Honor, by reason of voluntary involvement of all the members, Your Honor. But there are those who are unscrupulous people who have taken advantage of the so-called popularity of the MRD and ECC, Your Honor. And they have used this as a way within which to more or less fool some people who, in the process, they would benefit or gain some pecuniary benefits from them, Your Honor. To date, Your Honor, we have more or less around 1 million to 2 million membership nationwide, Your Honor, and all of them, Your Honor, are if they are truly genuine members of the MRD and ECC, they know, Your Honor, for a fact that membership in this organization, Your Honor, is truly voluntary, Your Honor, and we are just motivated by our concerns, Your Honor, to promote the advocacy of the President against anti-illegal drugs, anti-criminality, anti-corruption, anti-insurgency, and anti-poverty, Your Honor.
Okay, I just want to forewarn you that your being secretary and your being president should not in any way be a problem in implementing the programs of DAR with you as the secretary. Because right now, as you are speaking, my colleagues are saying that they also observe that kind of comments from their constituents na merong, sabi mo nga, unscrupulous members, and we don't want to taint the name of the president with those kinds of illegal activities.
Yeah, I assure you, Your Honor, because there are also other secretaries who are officials of the MRD and ECC, Your Honor. That's like the chairman is Secretary Jin Mamunjong, and the Secretary of HADSI, Your Honor, Secretary Del Rosario, is also a national official of this MRD and ECC, and there are around 8 to 10 undersecretaries, around 10 assistant secretaries, and heads of government corporations, Your Honor, which are members of the MRD and ECC from the very beginning, Your Honor.
Are there members of Congress who are members of MRRD also?
I suppose, Your Honor, there are supporters, Your Honor, but not as official card holders, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, Mr. Secretary, the NIA, the Free Irrigation Act, whereby the NIA doesn't charge anymore this time for the irrigation of farmlands, no? But the NIA has a budget of 501,532,000 for support to the farmer beneficiaries, and it's lodged under your department's budget. How are you going to use that now, since NIA will no longer charge water for irrigation?
I suppose, Your Honor, that NIA, Your Honor, are just supporting our agrarian reform beneficiary organizations, Your Honor. But with regards to the monetary control, Your Honor, we don't have any link or control with the NIA, Your Honor, in relation to that, Your Honor.
Well, I'll call your attention to item number 3 of the special provisions found in the DA of 2018. You have the DENR with 168,000 for DAR. You have the DTI, 99,000 for DAR, and you have the NIA, 501,000 for that. Just take a look at it, and you can let me know after the hearing.
I will comply, Your Honor.
Yeah. On my last point, Mr. Secretary, before I go on my last point, nandiyan na ba yung listahan? Can you supply the
In the
committee,
meantime,
please?
the Chair would like to acknowledge the presence of Senator J.B. Ejercito.
On my last point, Mr. Secretary, before you were appointed as Secretary of the Department of Agrarian Reform, you were an Undersecretary of the DILG. Is that
Yes, Your
correct?
Honor.
And before you were appointed as Undersecretary of DILG, you were a director at the DOTC.
Yes, Your Honor.
When was this?
Your Honor, at DOTC, Your Honor, that was around 2009, Your Honor.
And there is a finding by the Commission on Audit while you were at DOTC. I did not want to mention this, Mr. Secretary, kasi 2009 pa nga yun. But since it was given to me, I'd like to get your official statement on this, no? That when you were the Director 3 at the Department of Transportation and Communication, you were determined to be liable for the transaction, which was given a notice of disallowance by the COA. And it's more of, in summary, it's a splitting of government contracts. Can you tell us about that?
No, Your Honor. The splitting of government contract, Your Honor, was already dismissed, Your Honor. What remains, Your Honor, actually, is the failure of the person designated to post the same in the field gaps, Your Honor. During that time, when there was supposed to be a posting in the field gaps, Your Honor, the person responsible made representations with the members of the Bids and Awards Committee, Your Honor, that the same has been posted. And because of that, Your Honor, the bidding proceeded, Your Honor. Only later on, it turned out that it was not actually posted in the field gaps, Your Honor. That's the reason why the Commission on Audit, Your Honor, gave an audit observation memo on the matter, Your Honor. So
you're referring to the 6,634,000
that's it, Your Honor.
transactions.
Yes, Your Honor. So what I did, Your Honor, immediately upon knowing that the same, the said mistake has been done, Your Honor, I immediately asked him to explain the so-called reason why he has made misrepresentations before the Bids and Awards Committee, Your Honor. And in view of that, Your Honor, the same was also given to the technical working group and the other members of the Bids and Awards technical working group, and that was the reason, Your Honor, why the case has ensued, Your Honor. And thereafter, Your Honor, I did not stay long at the Department of Transportation. I was already out, and so the case proceeded, and it was elevated to the Commission on Audit, Your Honor.
So now it's still pending.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, maybe it's a blessing in disguise that this was given to me to remind you that as the head at this time, Director 3 of the DOTC, and now as head of DAR, that should not happen again.
Yes, Your Honor. That's the reason why I'm very strict when it comes to the processes that are being done in the Bids and Awards Committee under our department, Your Honor.
That will be all, Mr. Secretary, Madam Chairman. May I just remind the Secretary and USEC Bistoyong to furnish copies to this committee and to this representation on your list of programs under the Agriculture and Fisheries Modernization Program, the foreign assisted projects, and these are the Italian assistance to the agrarian reform, the Mindanao Sustainable Agrarian and Agriculture Development Project, or MINSAD, Convergence on Value Chain Enhancement for Rural Growth and Empowerment Project, the Inclusion Partnerships for Agricultural Competitiveness, and the Tulay ng Pangulo.
We'll comply, Your Honor. We already have the listing, Your Honor, and we will be giving it to you as soon as the proceedings is over, Your Honor.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Secretary. Madam Chair, thank you.
Thank you, Congressman Almario. The Chair would like to acknowledge the presence of Senator Cynthia Villar. Now, before we proceed to the next person who will next member of the CA to question, I would like to follow up on a point that you made on the Lapanday Farms issue. This was a big issue during the last confirmation hearing of Secretary of Kapaeng Mariano. I would like to know what your position is. You mentioned briefly about a company that is willing to assume the debts of the farmers because they want to get out from. Can you please explain your position on this or the situation?
Your Honor, this is in relation to an arrangement, Your Honor, which the main cooperative, Your Honor, would like to more or less initiate, Your Honor, so that they would be able to get rid of the so-called existing relationship between Lapanday and their cooperative, Your Honor, which are all farmer beneficiaries. So,
okay, this is just so I understand, sir. So Lapanday has an agreement with certain cooperatives. Okay, so there's just not one cooperative; there are others as well.
Right now, Your Honor, there are around 3 of them. The 2 of them would like to secede from the main cooperative, Your Honor.
Okay, so what will happen now to Lapanday, which because of this agreement supposedly had already invested in the area? Am I not correct?
What will happen, Your Honor, is there will be their obligation, Your Honor, will be assumed by this new corporation, which they call DANA, which we call DANA, Your Honor.
Okay, but my point is, if this is assumed by another corporation, will those is there a reason why those cooperatives will agree to be with that corporation as opposed to Lapanday?
Yes, Your Honor, because the farmers in return will no longer pay any debts, Your Honor. It will be assumed by the DANA Corporation, Your Honor, and they will be the one who would assume the debts, Your Honor, and they will no longer, the farmer beneficiaries will no longer be beholden or be asked to pay whatever obligations they have, Your Honor.
Okay, so in a way, this corporation will pay Lapanday.
Yes, Your Honor, because of the said transaction, Your Honor.
But if Lapanday, okay, and they will also take over the facilities in that area, because I know that there are certain facilities already that's put up, right?
They will be the one to manage it, Your Honor.
All right. Okay. And what is your position on this?
Your Honor, as we have already taken it up in the Park Execom, Your Honor, after a very extensive deliberation on the matter, Your Honor, because we were trying to protect the interests of the farmer beneficiaries, and we don't want them to commit the same situation, the same mistake, because the cooperative is no longer satisfied with the working relationship that they have with Lapanday. So right now, as we sat during the Park Execom, we saw to it, Your Honor, that the concerns of the farmer beneficiaries will be properly protected, that they will not be placed under any situation wherein later on they would again blame the so-called conditions of the situation that had happened during the earlier arrangement that they had with Lapanday.
Now, my question is this: so their debts will be forgiven. What if Lapanday decides, okay, we'll forgive your debts, but we'll continue management? Is this an arrangement that they considered?
No, Your Honor, it's not, because it will be totally under the new management of DANA Corporation, Your Honor. And besides, Your Honor, the bananas, Your Honor, which will be the product of the said undertaking by the farmer beneficiaries, Your Honor, the costing is pegged in such a way that it would really be beneficial to the farmer beneficiaries, Your Honor. And the farmer beneficiaries are very willing, more than willing, Your Honor, the same must be implemented and adopted because it will redound to their benefit, Your Honor.
Okay, so I just want to make sure that it's not just the maybe the incorporators or the name of the company, but it's actually still the same management, because in the end, it might also be a problem later on with the farmers if this is the case, if there's like some sort of a switch. It's just a switch.
The members of the Park Execom, Your Honor, are very zealous about their function and their duty to protect the interests of the farmer beneficiaries. As a matter of fact, there are 6 representatives in the Park Execom which represent the farmers, Your Honor. And they have thoroughly grilled the representatives of DANA, Your Honor, so that to see to it that the protection that is required in order to look at the interests of the farmer beneficiaries will be ensured, Your Honor.
Okay. The next who will question is Senator Mig Zubiri, and then after him is Rep. Sandy Ocampo, then Senator Sherwin Gatchalian, who's not here, so I suppose it's Congressman West, and then Congressman Zamora. Well, all right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Madam Chairman, I don't have any questions for the Secretary. Mine is just basically a manifestation. We've tried different secretaries of agrarian reform, Madam Chair. We've had Secretary Nani Braganza, was an activist. Then we had Secretary De Los Reyes, who's an academe. We've tried also Secretary from Lanao Sur, Secretary Pangandaman. I'm not sure if Secretary Pangandaman was a lawyer, but my point here, Mr. President, Mr. Chairman, Madam Chairman, is that I believe what the department needs now is a capable lawyer such as Secretary Castriciones, because many of the cases, many of the problems of DAR are legal problems. Many. Bukidnon alone, several cases have been filed in different courts. In the DARAB, it needs legal action because the landowners are filing cases against the DAR, and even the recipients, the land agrarian reform recipients, Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, are also filing cases against the DAR. So what we need is somebody who is a very capable lawyer who can help these people navigate through all these legal impediments to be able to implement the agrarian reform program. And I think that's a welcome breath of fresh air that we have a legal legal luminary in this right to head the department. So with that, Mr. President, I have my full support over the Secretary, and I hope he can just be fair to both the landowners, agrarian reform beneficiaries, and all the stakeholders that need his support. And at the same time, siguro, Secretary, kailangan din natin tutukan yung mga agrarian reform beneficiaries kasi it would be good to come up with an honest to goodness assessment if the agrarian reform department has actually helped in the improvement of the lives of a lot of our agrarian reform beneficiaries. You're fresh. Bago po kayo, you came in, you will have that fresh perspective. Tignan nyo po, kasi if in your survey it has not, then the program has failed. So for the program not to fail, kailangan may follow-up talaga tayo sa agrarian reform beneficiaries. I don't want to lecture you because your people are good people and I know they have good people on the ground. Pero yun lang po, kailangan constant follow-up. Dito sa atin, pag hindi tinututukan, makakalimutan. And I think we need that kind of follow-up with the agrarian reform secretary. So that's all, Madam Chair. Maraming salamat for giving me this time.
I think Congressman Albano has a quick question in relation to the manifestations.
No, I just have a manifestation. No? I am a little bit confused. Why does DAR need to exist until now? Diba? We've been extending DAR for quite some time already. How many times have we extended DAR? Can you explain to us why does DAR have to exist pa?
Your Honor, at this juncture, Your Honor, we still have 600,000 hectares of land to be distributed, Your Honor. And in view of that, I think the mandate of DAR is not only limited to land distribution, but also in terms of support services, Your Honor. And that is the reason why we have been following up the agrarian reform communities and the agrarian reform beneficiary organizations so that they will be able to develop their farming abilities, Your Honor, and they would be able to, we will be able to help them, Your Honor, enhance their so-called means of production so that it will directly affect the status of their families.
Secretary, what's the incentive now of the DAR to distribute all of those lands and then to make our farmers self-sufficient if it will make you obsolete and irrelevant? I mean, maybe that's the reason why it's been extended for so long. Maybe that could be your legacy.
I will do
You
my
finish
best.
that? I mean, if you finish that, then there's no reason for the existence of DAR. You realize that?
Well, Your Honor,
Or you're telling us now that it will not be finished under your term?
Your Honor, our people in the department, as I have seen in my short span of time there, Your Honor, are very committed, Your Honor. Although I'm not saying that all of them, Your Honor, have that kind of mentality or dedication. As always, Your Honor, in every group there are always those people who have more interest promoting their own personal interest. But generally, Your Honor, there are a lot of good people at the department whose commitment, Your Honor, is to help improve the lot of the farmers, Your Honor. And I suppose, I am very expectant, Your Honor, that they would also accord the same kind of cooperation with me, Your Honor, because my real goal, Your Honor, is to really see to it that we will be able to address the issue of our farmers who have been, for the longest time, Your Honor, been complaining for social justice and other concerns, Your Honor.
I think Rep. Albano has something to add to this.
Yeah, but practically I've extended the life of DAR for 12 years. Because what you told us here in this committee, that you're going to distribute land, how many? 600,000 land? 50,000 a year. What? A year. So, 50,000 a year. So that's practically 12 years. We've extended DAR's life to 12 years. Another 12 years, di ba? So we'll be extending you again, or you mandatorily extending yourself, di ba? Tama ba? For 12 years. Can you not make it a little bit short?
I will do my best to comply with the mandate of this body, Your Honor, and also to our commitment to our farmer beneficiaries, Your Honor.
Yeah, because, Madam Chair, may interlapping ang natin, yung functions ng DA, yung functions ng DPWH, overlapping na eh. Kasi, nasa DA dapat yung te-train ng mga farmers. Tapos, nasa inyo naman yung mga tulay ng Pangulo. Tapos, naiipit sa inyo yung mga function naman ng dapat ng DPWH yan. So, hindi ko alam kung bakit pa nag-i-exist yung Department of Agrarian Reform hanggang ngayon eh. Ang tagal na eh. Since time pa ni Secretary, who was the first secretary? Si Estrella, siguro. During the time of Marcos, di ba? Parang PD ginawa sa DAR, or it was during the time of President, sino yun? Macapagal. So sa tagal na ito, wala pa ako nakikita. Puro gulo nakikita ko dun sa administration ng DAR. Puro rally, dun sa Makati, puro patayan sa Hacienda Luisita. Hindi ko nakikita yung existence ng DAR na nakakabuti sa ating mga magsasaka, Mr. Secretary.
Your Honor, well, there is no law that terminates the life of the DAR, Your Honor. and I am it is my duty to continue the mandate of the Your Honor. I will do it, and I will perform my duty well, Your Honor.
I think you're the best guy for the job, Mr. Secretary. I endorse.
Okay. Um, Next is Congresswoman Sandy Ocampo.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Actually, our majority leader raised my concerns, but I'd like to ask about something else. And it was a very valid concern that begs answers even from us legislators. In the profile investigation report from our own commission appointments, it did say that the nominee is overcautious and security conscious, that he has a tendency to sit on cases and inaccessible to people, and that his office is always closed to visitors. And yet, when I listen to the nominee speak with a soft voice, I see the sincerity in his intentions. And I do agree with Senator Zaviri that being a lawyer will weigh in heavily in the disposition of this job. So I'd like the nominee to please respond to the intelligence report submitted to us by our own CA committee.
Your Honor, please. There is no truth to the matter that I am overly cautious and I do not entertain. Was that the point, Your Honor, that I do not entertain the farmer beneficiaries? As a matter of fact, Your Honor, every day I entertain around 10, 20 farmers coming from different areas as far as Mindanao and the Visayas, Your Honor. But basically, what I did, Your Honor, was just to put order in the department, Your Honor. During the first day that I went to DAR, Your Honor, I was met by farmers encamped outside of the DAR compound. As you go around the elliptical road, Your Honor, in Quezon City, you would see farmers encamped in front of the DAR, Your Honor. They have built tents, which are semi-permanent, Your Honor, and so that was the first time that I saw that everything was in shambles, Your Honor. So what I did, the first thing that I did was to go to them, enter their tents, talk to them, Your Honor, and I convinced them, Your Honor, that we in the department will do something, especially under my term, Your Honor. And I explained to them, Your Honor, that these are my programs as to how I would be able to help the farmers. Right now, Your Honor, if you go to the DAR, Your Honor, you would find out that the farmers have already left the frontage of the DAR compound, Your Honor. And those people, those farmer beneficiaries who have left, Your Honor, were all from Mindanao, Your Honor. And they have stayed there for the longest time, Your Honor. But because of negotiation, because of open dialogue, because of dealing with them, Your Honor, directly, and I think they saw the sincerity within me, Your Honor, they all left, Your Honor, and up to now, we are in good terms, and they have been convinced, Your Honor, that the proper way of doing the same, Your Honor, is by means of dialogue and openness, Your Honor, and that's how it happened, Your Honor.
These farmers probably wanted to give you a chance. That's why they left.
Thank
Can't
you.
be easy being camped out of your department. But why has agriculture failed? From the very onset, President Duterte said that we should no longer look at the Philippines as an agricultural country, which, of course, garnered a lot of opposition and a lot of outcry from farmer sectors groups. Like Congressman West here beside me says, times have changed. Many children of farmers, the last thing they want to be is to be a farmer. So, and yet, you know, if you distribute and it'll take you 12 years, maybe there should be a reassessment, not only from DAR itself, but from government policies on how we should really be distributing our resources, because if the lots are too small, there is no economies in scale in getting into farming. So I also wanted to respond and perhaps expand on what you mentioned earlier regarding the need for your attention on the support services that must husband distribution of lands.
I think that's a very important mandate of the department, Your Honor, that aside from the distribution of lands, the support services must be enhanced, Your Honor, because we know that our farmers, despite the fact that they have been tilling the soil for the longest time, Your Honor, they also need the support coming from the government, Your Honor. And actually, I think it has something to do with the mindset of people, Your Honor, because some of our farmers, Your Honor, have that mentality that they want their children to live farming. In fact, I think the average age of farmers right now, Your Honor, is already 57 years old. And by introducing some programs and projects that will make farmers love farming, Your Honor, I think that is the best way so that we would be able to really attain food sufficiency and probably later on to be an industrialized country, because I don't think that we can be an industrialized country if we don't have a stable agricultural economy, Your Honor, because it is very important that our farmers would really be able to appreciate that farming is productive, and it is one way within which it will uplift their economic lives, Your Honor. So I agree with you, Your Honor, that support services must be enhanced and that we must be able to introduce programs that will make farmers love farming. And one of these, I think, Your Honor, is being done through the farm schools, which is also very important because this would somehow make farmers understand that there are some new technologies which can be introduced and some methods that are very productive that will make the farming industry a more productive undertaking, Your Honor.
Well, I take this opportunity to bring to the attention of my colleagues the Agri-Agra law. This is a big source of funds to really improve the situation of agriculture and fisheries in our country. Many of the banks are not compliant to their commitment to the funds that can be the source of agriculture and fishery development. And banks would rather pay the penalty. So it's time for us to revisit the compliance of banks in this matter. And that would be a source also for DAR to improve
Certain
your support
question
service.
about the review of the Agri-Agra law, because that's under my committee. We're reviewing the Agri-Agra law. Under the Agri-Agra law, you allocate 25% of the loanable funds of all banks to Agri-Agra. When you mean agri, 15% to agriculture and 10% to agrarian reform. Yung loan to agriculture, not so bad because they are doing 12% of the 15%. So may 3% na non-compliant. Ang may problema yung agra because they're doing only 1 to 2% out of the 10%. So ang laki-laki ng non-compliant sa agra. Mas mahirap pa utangin yung agra kasi walang collateral. Usually, yung mga land reform beneficiaries, hindi kanila yung lupa. May something wrong with that. Matagal yung process of yung paper. Ngayon, yung lahat ng penalty sa Agri-Agra, dinadala sa, ang kalahati, binibigay sa Philippine Crop Insurance Corporation para yun ang gagamitin na pang-insure sa mga produce ng mga farmers. So that the banks can lend to them because the insurance will pay. Pag halimbawa tinamaan ng bagyo at nasira yung crops nila, then yung Philippine Crop Insurance Corporation will pay. Ang problema lang sa Philippine Crop Insurance Corporation, ang tagal nila mag-process ng bayad. And then, another one-half will go to the surety fund. Yung surety fund na yon, ini-insure niya yung lahat ng loan sa Agri-Agra ng 85%. Para pag ikaw nagpautang, parang ang risk mo lang is 15%. Kasi babayaran ng surety fund. Pag hindi sila nakabayad, yung 85%. So may kinapupuntahan naman yung pera from penalties. to government institutions. Itong batas na to napasa noong 2009, na-implement ng 2011. A provision of the law is it will be reviewed after 3 years. But they failed to give notice, the BSP, to give notice to us that we have to review after 3 years. So we are now reviewing the law para kung ano man changes ang gusto natin gawin para mas maging effective, especially that non-compliance ng AGRA, then we will make the change this year. So we are now in the process of reviewing the law.
Senator Cynthia, perhaps one of the provisions that can be changed is increasing the actual penalty for non-compliance, di ba? Para ngayon, mas mura na wag sundin kaysa magpa-take that risk na magpautang. So kung siguro isa yon, no?
That's why we're reviewing the implementation of the law. We are due to review the implementation of the law. So we are looking for ideas to improve the law. Thank you. And
Thank you for
can give
enlightening
to
us,
us
ma'am.
the suggestion, all your suggestions, because we are open to it.
Well,
That's
Madam
handy.
Chair, to end, it's only Land Bank that's actually compliant. They're over the percentage required by them by this law in lending to this sector. And actually, all the other banks are the ones that are not compliant. So it takes, I think, Congress and the central bank for us to call them to task so that we unleash the funds that are just sitting in central bank for this kind of endeavor. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, and then to the questions of Congresswoman Sandy Ocampo. May I just ask, where's the bulk of your land distribution? Saan ba? Sa Visayas, sa Mindanao, or sa Luzon? Yung bulk ng 600,000 na distribute.
We have highlight areas, Your Honor. One of which, these are the following areas which are highlight areas, meaning that there are still available lands for acquisition and distribution. We have Isabela, Your Honor.
Isabela, uy,
Yes,
may
Your
province. Oh. Secretary, may kaso nga ako dyan eh. Yung rancho ko, ni land reform, rancho yun, forest land, di pwede. Well, anyway, Isabela, no, the bulk of the 600,000, Isabela.
Isabela, Quezon, Your Honor.
And
We also have Bicol.
Bicol.
We have Samar, Leyte. We also have Negros, Your Honor. And we also have the ARMM, Your Honor.
No, no.
Bukidnon.
No, the reason why I'm asking that, Mr. Chair, is, Madam Chair, because there's a program of the government now, especially DOTR, transferred already to Clark, yung mismong ano niya, yung mismong office, head office, transferred to Clark. Where do you plan to transfer your the Department of Agrarian Reform? Kasi alam mo, as you said, Isabela, it will be okay anywhere but Metro Manila. Anywhere but Isabela. No, you're welcome to Isabela. I'd love to have you there in Isabela. Mas gusto ko nandun yun dahil sa Isabela. Kasi sinasabi ko yan, kasi kawawa yung mga farmers at kawawa rin yung Metro Manila, pati yung mga congressman na natatraffic pag tent yung mga ano, and it's high time to decongest Metro Manila and put all government offices outside of Metro Manila. So, Mr. Secretary, where do you want to transfer your for a possible site, the best possible site? Kasi hanapin natin yung bulk din ng ano mo, Central Luzon or whatever. Can you tell us what your plans are for transferring your
Your Honor, if I'll have it my way, Your Honor, I'll probably choose Mindanao and Luzon would be areas where we can consider to be the place where the department can be relocated, Your Honor.
Yeah, you can tell us that because these guys, you know, they can give you the money for you to transfer. Especially Senator Ping, pwede kanya bigyan ng... Yeah, because DOTR, moved already to Clark Air Base. Clark. Yeah, lahat actually. So tinatanong natin si Secretary kung saan niya gusto ilipat at sana mailipat mo sa lalong madaling panahon.
First of all, I leave it to the wisdom of our legislators because you will be the one who would be appropriating budget for this, Your Honor. But as
But
I
we
said,
need a plan, Secretary. Kaya lang magbigay ka sa amin ng plano.
yes, Your Honor, if I have it my way, Your Honor, then we can probably place it somewhere near the places where these departments will be transferred. Because I think there's a plan right now wherein some of the departments would be relocated somewhere there in Central Luzon, Your Honor. In Clark. And if that would probably be the pattern, Your Honor, then it would be also good to relocate the same in that area. Anyway, Your Honor, what will happen is that we also have different regional offices, Your Honor. The department has different regional offices throughout the Philippines, Your Honor, and it would be a lot easier for us to coordinate and to observe, or rather to supervise all of these so-called activities under the Department of Agrarian Reform.
Mr. Chairman, just to add to that, moving the departments to Clark will actually hasten the development of our build programs like the fast train and the interconnector road. Kasi, hirap na hirap sila pumunta dito sa atin sa mga hearings kung hindi na naayusin yung mga kalsada na yan at maayos yung traffic dyan sa EDSA. So I think it's a perfect location. In Malaysia, just for the information of everybody, they moved the presidential palace, including all the cabinet, to Putrajaya. It's about an hour away from Kuala Lumpur. So that's not a bad idea.
Okay, let's continue now. The next on our list is Senator Gatchalian, actually, but he's not here. So I don't know if this is actually transferable to relatives.
No, but Mr. Chair, I listed my name,
But you did.
not to substitute, but I listed my name as well.
So it's you, actually. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Mr. Secretary.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Well, I read a very good article on your website, no? Which stated that, na-mention nyo ho kanina pareho rin, that the average age of farmers are now 57 years old. And the truth on the ground is, Mr. Secretary, lahat po ng mga nagmana na third or fourth generation na lupain ng kanilang mga ninuno o ng kanilang mga lolo are given the chance ay gusto na lang nilang ibenta yan. A lot of them are either working abroad as OFWs, a lot of them chose to be in the service industry as BPO or call centers, no. So I just want to know, what is the DAR doing in encouraging our people to stay into farming and to ensure our food security, knowing na we have already an issue here becoming that a lot of the farmers here are around the age of 57 above.
First of all, Your Honor, I think the very essence of making the farmers love farming, Your Honor, is first of all, they must be able to appreciate that farming will uplift the economic lives of their families, Your Honor. Without that factor, Your Honor, it would be difficult to convince or to change the mindset of our farmers, Your Honor. And that is the reason why our department is doing its best, Your Honor, in enhancing the support services of our department so that the farmers will be extended the needed assistance as to how they would be able to see to it that their undertaking as farmers, Your Honor, will be very productive, Your Honor.
Can you enumerate this program on how you're promoting it? Do you have a particular program or do you have a particular promotional or educational campaign with regards to this?
Before I came in, Your Honor, there were already existing programs, Your Honor, and I give credit to my subordinates, Your Honor, for having done the same. Like, for example, Your Honor, the technical training for our farmer beneficiaries as to how they would be able to more or less enrich their so-called procedures, their technique on how to make their farming more productive. Secondly, There are also seminars and so-called uh, programs that would have to make them more adaptive to the challenges of farming, like the challenge of the environmental concerns, and also challenges as to how they would be able to enrich the soil which they are farming, Your Honor. Now, as I come in, Your Honor, I was thinking of a way on how to make the farmers love uh, their their profession as farmers. And one of these, Your Honor, is this is just in the planning stage, Your Honor, but I hope that it will work. And that's the reason why we are putting a lot of time to extensively deliberate on the matter. And this is the housing for farmers, Your Honor. Because every time that our farmers are met with challenges like they wanted to have money for the education of their children, they wanted to have money for the hospitalization of their family members. The number one victim is actually the CLOA, or the so-called title that was given to them. And by creating a housing project for the farmers, Your Honor, it will gel the family in such a way that they would have to help one another, how they would be able to maintain and sustain these houses that will be built for their families, Your Honor. And we are also injecting the concept of convergence, Your Honor, so much so that we can tap the different departments of our government without necessarily asking for additional budget. Like, for example, training the wives and the children with means of livelihood as to how they would be able to help their father, being the main person who has the tasking of helping the family. Like the TESDA, I found out that they have programs for farmer beneficiaries, most especially the wives and the children of the farmers, that they have a budget intended for it, Your Honor. And we would like to tap that resource, Your Honor, so that we can help the father of the family tend after the welfare or the needs of the families, Your Honor. And by doing so also, Your Honor, we would like to avail of the so-called free education program, and which we will try to connect into our so-called housing program that we are intending to initiate, Your Honor. There are a lot of other plans, Your Honor, but I suppose that it would take more planning and in-depth study so that we will not fail on this regard, Your Honor.
It's okay, Madam Chair, with the permission of Wes, I'll just
Please go ahead.
30 seconds lang. This is a phenomenon all over the world, Mr. Secretary. Ako, UPLB grad kasi ako an agribusiness graduate. So, this is really my first calling, which is agriculture. The problem all over the world, Mr. Secretary, is it's an aging population for farmers because as you educate the children no longer want to work in hard conditions in the farm. Sa India po, yan ang nangyari. Lahat sila nag-call center agents. Wala na po. That's why many farms are abandoned in India. Even sugar mills are being sold almost just like scrap metal because wala nang gumagamit, wala nang deliver ng farm products. So, tama yung sinabi mo, make them love it, not just by housing, but make it also productive in terms of financial aspects. They should be able to earn more than they're earning in a call center environment. So kailangan i-business nila yan, na magandang business, high-value crops, not just the traditional crops, because talagang mababaon talaga sila sa utang pag traditional crops na walang asenso, year in, year out. And also, we may have a problem with that, Mr. Secretary. Next year, libre na yung tertiary education natin. So, the higher educated their children are, the lesser chance they will go back to the farm. So look at mechanization, look at how to make it productive with mechanized equipments. Or else, abandon yung lupa na yan. Nobody will work there. So keep that in mind, Sec. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Let me remind the body that we have a little less than 40 minutes left. And there's still many who would like to ask questions. So I'd like to remind Secretary Castriciones to keep your answers concise, also to the point, so that hopefully we can finish this, because otherwise we will have to go on break and then you would have to be bypassed. So while we're on the topic, I'd like to ask Congressman Almario if you're satisfied with the submission that was already made.
Partially satisfied, Madam Chair.
So
it
maybe we
does-
can discuss this in our caucus later on. If
I
you're,
can just call on
oh
Yusek
yeah,
Pistoyong
to
and,
submit if there's
discuss with
anything.
her.
Yeah.
May I continue, Mr. Chair?
Yes, continue with your questions.
Madam. Just to continue, Secretary, the budget season will, well, not too soon, but will be coming in very soon for the 2019 budget season. How many % of your budget do you allocate for promotion and educational campaign?
To be candid about it, Your Honor, at this juncture, we're still in the process of trying to evaluate the same. But we will allot a big portion of that, Your Honor, in order to satisfy that aspect of our department.
Yes. Well, the reason I just asked you that is because kaharap nyo na ho ang mga congressman at senators. And if you're telling me that you're giving big importance on the promotion and educational campaign, then dapat ho allocatean natin na mas malaking budget ho ito. Dahil as I mentioned to you, there's already a need to revive back the interest among the young generations as well, no? And backtrack lang tayo konti, Mr. Secretary. Just to clarify, trabaho ba ho ng DAR o trabaho ng DA ang promotion and educational campaign?
As far as DAR is concerned, Your Honor, anything that would have to enhance the welfare of the farmer beneficiaries, Your Honor, that we can undertake, Your Honor.
Sa inyo ho yun, sa
Yes,
DAR?
Your Honor.
Okay. Just going to my next question, this is still in connection to what Congressman Albano mentioned a while ago. Yung 50,000 hectares natin per year, honestly, Secretary, this is a big number. Is this really doable?
Your Honor, there was an increase in the performance of DAR when it comes to the acquisition and distribution aspect, Your Honor. In 2016, it was only pegged at 33%. Right now, last year, Your Honor, it was already 71%. So it's on the
Almost double.
yes, Your Honor. So we are intending
Or more than
to,
double.
Yes, Your Honor. So we are intending to increase the same, and that is the reason why we have been very active in the distribution of CLOAS, Your Honor. In the past 2 months, Your Honor, we have already accomplished giving away more or less around 3,000 or 4,000 farmer beneficiaries have been benefited out of it, Your Honor. In fact, this coming April 2, there's another distribution of 2,000 CLOAS in Sultan Kudarat.
May I know, Mr. Secretary, if you have enough manpower focusing on the CLOA issues and conversions?
Your Honor, that is the predicament of the department, Your Honor. Like, for example, in the disposition of our agrarian cases, Your Honor, let me just emphasize, Your Honor, that we have around 14,000 cases pending right now, Your Honor. And we have only in the central office, Your Honor, 26 lawyers to accomplish the same. And this was actually made more difficult by the fact that before lawyers can enter the department, Your Honor, we have to seek OSG clearance and COA clearance. And there are very few lawyers who are takers of this position, Your Honor, because the salary for lawyers for the department is very low. And that is a concern that needs to be acted on immediately. I have already made representations with COA, Your Honor, and OSG, but it has not as yet been resolved, Your Honor.
How about in your branches in the provinces? How many lawyers do you have?
Your Honor, there are some positions there are some regions which do not have lawyers, Your Honor, and because of the same predicament. Secondly, Your Honor, way back in 2013, there was a problem because of the rat plan, Your Honor, of which the former administration of our department was not able to comply with the requirements of the Civil Service Commission. And because of that, Your Honor, many of our staff, many of our employees, Your Honor, for the longest time, have been occupying such position without any promotion, Your Honor. They have been there for around 15 years, around 20 years, Your Honor, without any promotion at all, just because there has been a problem when it comes to the promotion as brought about by the complexities of not being able to satisfy the RAT plan as required under the Civil Service Commission, Your Honor.
Madam Chair, with the permission of the Congressman Gatilian.
Senator
go ahead.
Lacson.
26 lawyers handling 13,000 cases,
14,000 cases.
14,000 cases. So how do you deal with that,
Your
given
Hon-
the limitation?
Your Honor, the first thing that I did, Your Honor, was to, first of all, streamline the procedures when it comes to the disposition of these cases, Your Honor. Right now, I have already issued administrative order number 3 and number 1, Your Honor, as to how the so-called cases would be streamlined, Your Honor. First of all, with regards to the cancellation cases, as I have previously mentioned, Your Honor, what I did was that we will have to dispose of this case in such a way that it will move. Because when I came to the department, Your Honor, most of these cases have been pending just because of the incomplete documents. And the other parties do not want to comply with the completion of the document. So what I did was, Your Honor, was that I made an administrative order in order to dismiss these cases without prejudice, so that if they refile again, they have to complete all the documents, Your Honor. And it's working, Your Honor. Right now, so far, in that short span of time that I have been there, Your Honor, I have already disposed around 300 to 400 cases, Your Honor. And it's day by day we are doing it. Our mission, Your Honor, is to more or less accomplish 10 to 20 or 30 cases for a month, Your Honor. And so, because of that, Your Honor, I think we will be able to comply. Secondly, Your Honor, I have already made representations with the OSG, as I said, and the COA that we will change. They will have to relax some of their so-called strict procedures in hiring lawyers, Your Honor. And also, I have also made some of the lawyers in the nearby areas, like the Parads and the Rarads, Your Honor, who are all lawyers in the different regions, to come to the central office so that they will extend help and assistance to our central lawyers, Your Honor, central offices lawyers, so that we can dispose of all these cases, Your Honor.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, I have no more questions. I would like to manifest my support to the confirmation of Secretary Appointee Castriciones. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Let me remind our members to please keep your questions short so that hopefully we can finish this within the 25 minutes we have left. The next would be supposedly Congressman Zamora, but he waived this time for Senator Risa. Do you have any questions? Or if you're not ready yet, then we can go first with Senator JV, then Senator Risa.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Secretary, again, good morning. Anyway, para magkaroon ng konting spice, I remember that you are one of the 3 USECs that complained about Secretary Sueña when you're in the LG. Pwede bang ipaliwanag niyo sa akin? Kasi ang alam ko ito yung tungkol sa Rosenbauer fire trucks, di ba? One of the issues that were brought out by you and your 2 other companions.
Your Honor, the former Secretary of the ILG, Your Honor, attributes his ouster because of the doing of the 3 undersecretaries. But in reality, Your Honor, it was actually the decision of the President. The President has a very good communication with many people when it comes to information, Your Honor, and that it was actually his main decision. I think nobody can sway the mind of the President. The President has a very independent-minded, Your Honor, and whatever decisions he makes, he's responsible for it, Your Honor. And we were not the ones who actually decided or worked for the ouster of the former secretary.
We know that for a fact that the President is very decisive. In fact, Secretary Sueño was one of those who got the axe in the early part of the administration. That's the reason I asked, because I was the one who chaired the committee on this committee on the local government, which confirmed Secretary Sueño. And at the time, he was very much like, nagulat lang din kami, very good demeanor, mapakumbaba. So, siguro lang kung ano, was that, siguro based on your knowledge, alam naman namin si Presidente po ang the last back, no? He will make the final decision. So, ano po yung mga naging issues sa kanya, aside from I understand the fire truck deal. Kasi sa Austria, I think yung travels, gusto lang namin maliwanagan din.
Based on my very limited knowledge on the matter, Your Honor, there were a number of people who submitted reports to the President. And the President's process is, before he acts on something, he investigates. And I think after receiving all the reports from the people whom he trusts and whom he believes can deliver the right information, he made a conclusion, Your Honor, and he made the necessary decision.
So wala talagang, it's just based on the perception and newspaper news reports that the three USECs, including you, had something to do with. Wala ko kayo kinalaman.
They just made it very sensational, Your Honor, creating a fight between us because we belong to the same organization.
Ayun na nga po. That's why I asked, because this is very important, Madam Chair, because in any department or agency, yung teamwork, there has to be teamwork and good working relationship. So, siyempre, pag ganun po ang nangyari, parang hindi mo maganda. No? Kasi po yun yung lumabas. That's why I had to clarify with you, Secretary, kung ano po yung nangyari. If you really had something to do, kung sinasabi niyong wala, then we'll take your word for it. And lastly, Madam Chair, going back yung sa issue that I asked last week, no, doon po sa issue natin, I'm just curious, of ever since the agrarian reform was implemented, ilan pa ho yung, meron ho kayo bang, di ba record, I asked kung ilan pa yung talagang hawak pa ng mga original beneficiaries o ilan na yung nabenta na. Para lang for the information of this committee. You can just submit it later on kung wala ho kayong ready.
As of now, I don't have the records, Your Honor, but we have conducted some survey, Your Honor, on how we would be able to determine as to how many of the original recipients of the CLOAs are still in possession of the said lands awarded to them.
I hope, last point, I hope that you would be able to make, again, farming interesting and likewise, make sure that the beneficiaries would hold on to their land and make it more productive. No? Kasi po, yun nga, as I pointed out last week, Mr. Secretary, it's so sad that the very essence of the agrarian reform, nawawala ako kung talaga yung farmers later o pag nagipit, binibenta rin ho yung lupa. No? So nawawala yung essence na ibinamimigay ho natin, pinamamahagi, pero ibibenta rin po later on. So those are the things that you have to really take into consideration in your performance for the agrarian reform to be more successful this time around. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator JV, for the concise questions. Actually, if we can limit our questions to 5 minutes each and then a short answer from you, we can still be able to finish. The next is Senator Risa, and then after Senator Risa, we have Congressman Zamora, Congressman Salimbangon, and then a quick question also from Congresswoman Cortuna. And then maybe Senator Cynthia Villar, because your authority in this, if you have anything else to add. Okay, Senator Risa.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Handa naman ako sanang maghintay hanggang maging huli, pero kung i-recognize ako ni Chair, salamat po, and salamat din kay Vice Chair Zamora. Dalawang main issues lang po na i-follow up from the previous hearing on the Good Secretary. But first, just a quick observation dun sa Rosenbauer fire trucks issue na ni-raise ni Senator JV. That issue, which was used against the former DILG Secretary Sueño, was actually continued. So, ipinagpatuloy din naman pala yung kontrata dun kaugnay ng Rosenbauer fire trucks. Anyway, Madam Chair, just two follow-up issues on the confirmation from the previous hearing. Yung alleged lack of qualification as DAR Secretary at saka yung alleged unresponsiveness to the needs and calls for agrarian reform. Una po, the Good Secretary didn't mention even once during the confirmation hearing nor contain in previous CA records that he is an advocate of land reform or a member of any group championing land reform or advocating for solutions to rural and farm populations. I actually have about a dozen follow-up points, Madam Chair, but I will only quickly enumerate 7 in relation to the 2 major issues. So it was only when the Good Secretary's qualification and experience in agrarian reform was questioned by Akbayan Representative Tom Villarin that the Secretary suddenly produced documentary evidence that he is a co-founder of Biyayang Bukid Party List, a farmers' party. Secondly, Madam Chair, although there's an affidavit that the Good Secretary co-founded Biyayang Bukid in 2004, the articles of incorporation submitted by the Secretary himself show that he was not a director nor an incorporator of the said farmers' party list in 2004. Third, anent the attestation that the Good Secretary was the counsel in registering Biyayang Bukid as a party list before the COMELEC, apart from the Secretary's statement, there's nothing in the record submitted that supports that statement. Fourth, the Good Secretary repeatedly claimed during the first confirmation hearing that he has handled many agrarian reform cases during his stint as a practicing lawyer, making him an agrarian reform advocate. But records show that he has handled only one agrarian reform related case, and in that single case, he represented the former landowner. And may I just note, with all due respect, Madam Chair, that being a lawyer is not enough to head the agrarian reform department. Farmers don't need primarily or only a lawyer. They want primarily someone who will truly implement the government's agrarian reform program. And fifth, on this first issue, Madam Chair, one claims to be a chairman of various farmer and fisherfolk organizations, including the MRRDNECC, attested to the character of the Good Secretary as a pro-farmer lawyer. But his sinumpaang salaysay categorically states that he only met the Secretary in 2014. And MRRDNEC is the same organization mentioned in a supposed white paper by purported members of the concerned directors, provincial, city, and municipal officers and employees of DAR, which is alleged to be the political vehicle of the Secretary to move matters in the DAR. And for my second and last follow-up issue, Madam Chair, the alleged unresponsiveness to the needs and calls for agrarian reform. So only after issues of unacted upon demands for installation of CLOA holders in Negros Oriental was raised during the confirmation hearing that the Good Secretary created a task force through Special Order number 95. However, Madam Chair, adding insult to injury, instead of ordering the immediate installation of CLOA holders on the lands they till, CLOA holders who've already waited for so many years, Special Order number 95 of the Good Secretary actually sets the process back to square one by ordering the task force to make identification of the state of the land, determine the status of cases, and make an inventory of CLOA holders. Nung nakaraang hearing po, Madam Chair, ni-note ko na batay sa documentation din na hinain ni Representative Villarin na numerous of those notices of coverage and CLOAs date back to the 1990s. So 2 decades old na mga dokumento na hindi nangangailangan na bumalik sa square one, nangangailangan na lamang ng immediate installation. And lastly, Madam Chair, one of the priorities of the Good Secretary and one of his contributions to the DAR so far is the issuance of a comprehensive measure, Administrative Order number 2, series of 2018, which aims to streamline and speedily dispose of cases seeking to cancel emancipation patents, CLOAs, and other agrarian reform titles. So actually, Madam Chair, yung priority, yung contribution, ay may kaugnayan sa mga instrumento which would cancel the very instruments na nagpapatunay ng pagiging benepisyaryo ng magsasaka sa programa ng gobyerno. Sa halip na to maging priority contribution yung immediate installation, for example, on the basis of these very instruments na DAR na mismo ang nag-issue in the past decades. And very last, Madam Chair, I'd just like to, with all due respect, correct or place my opposite view dun sa sinabi ng Good Secretary that the CARPER has expired. Though the DAR should have completed land acquisition and distribution by 2014, the fact na meron, sabi nga ng Good Secretary, 600,000 hectares pa na uncovered, ibig sabihin, there is still an unfulfilled mandate. At yung dalawa pang programa sa ilalim ng CARPER, yung support services at saka yung agrarian reform, yung agrarian justice delivery, ay would actually constitute a continuing mandate. I agree with the other members of the commission. Eventually, government could decide to spin off these other two components to other departments, DA ba yan, DOJ ba yan, etc. Pero sa ngayon, may mandato pa ang DAR. Utos ng konstitusyon, utos ng batas, utos ng gobyerno. Tapusin na ang land acquisition and distribution sa magsasaka nung sinasabi ng 600,000 hectares pa ng carpable lands. Salamat po, Madam Chair.
So would you like to respond to any, if you can still remember all those questions? I hope
Yes,
somebody was taking notes.
Yes, Madam Chair. Ma'am, doon po sa sinasabi po ni Senator Risa, ma'am, yung tungkol po doon sa participation ko po doon sa Biyayang Bukid. Bago ko po kasi sinabi yun, nagpaalam muna po ako doon sa co-founder na si Congressman Ted Montoro. Si Congressman Ted Montoro po, siya po yung congressman ngayon ng Aasenso Party. Bago po yan naging Aasenso Party, yan po ay Biyayang Bukid. Nag-umpisa po yan ng 2004. At yung 2004 pa, kasama ko na po si Congressman Ted Montoro para po talagang itatag namin itong Biyayang Bukid at marami po kami talagang mga finorm at inorganize na mga farmers at tinulungan po namin sila sa kanilang mga concerns. Ngayon, nandito po si Congressman Ted Montoro, nandito po siya, pwede po natin siyang tanungin kung gusto po ninyo. Pangalawa po, yung tungkol po sa sinasabi niyo, Madam, na wala pong nakalagay dito, nandito po, Ma'am, kung titignan niyo po yung General Information Sheet dated 2009, makikita niyo po dito, ma'am, nakalagay po yung pangalan ko as one of the Board of Directors. Number 4, ma'am, John Castriciones, nandito po yung pangalan ko dito, ma'am. At pangalawa, dun po sa final namin for the accreditation po ng Biyayang Bukid, ma'am, nandito rin po yung aking pangalan, ma'am, na naisubmit din po namin dito sa inyo po. At nakalagay po ako dito na ako po yung founding member ng Biyayang Bukid. Kasama ko po dito si Congressman Ted Montoro. Nandito po sa page 5, ma'am. Nakalagay po dyan sa dokumento. At kaya po hindi ko kagad nasabi noon, ma'am, na ako yung founding member ng Biyayang Bukid kasi po nahihiya din po ako kay Congressman Ted Montoro dahil bago po siya naging congressman, natalo po ng 2 beses kasi yung Biyayang Bukid noong 2004 at saka 2007. Kaya nagpaalam muna po ako sa kanya kasi ilalabas po yon bago po siya naging congressman. Ngayon congressman na po siya. At yung Aasenso Party po, yun po ang naging byproduct po ng Biyayang Bukid na kung saan as early as 2004 pa lamang po ay talagang lumibot na po kami sa iba't ibang lugar para po talaga tulungan namin ang mga magsasaka. At nakalagay po dito mismo sa Articles of Incorporation po niya, dito sa page 1, ma'am, nakalagay dito very clear po that the purpose for which the association is incorporated are the following: agriculture modernization. Number 2, proper implementation of land reform. Maliwanag na maliwanag po yun. Utilization of idle land, particularly in the countryside, focusing on agribusiness. Poverty alleviation of small farmers, and stop the continuous land conversion, yung pong pang-aabuso. Ibig sabihin na yung hindi tamang pamamaraan. So, yun po yung amin pong mga adhikain, simulat sa pulpa po, ma'am. Kaya pinapakita ko po talaga na as early as 2004 pa lamang po, aktibo na po ako sa inisyatiba po ng mga magsasaka.
We will now have Congressman Zamora.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Secretary Castriciones, I wonder if you were paying attention to the previous hearings of former Secretary Mariano, among the many questions that were raised, and among the many issues that may have led to his eventual rejection, were questions about land conversion. This is an extremely important question and issue, simply because we always need land in a developing economy for activities like housing, activities like commercial and industrial uses, a lot of activities that may in fact infringe on an economy's maintaining lands simply for agricultural or agrarian use. And if you remember, Mr. Secretary, Secretary Mariano had this policy of several aspects. One of them was, first, he was imposing and in fact implementing a 2-year ban, a 2-year moratorium on all land conversions. Second, he also had this policy of trying to review land conversions dating to effectively 1988. In short, he wanted to review all land conversions from the time that the agrarian law was passed in 1988. Up to this year, that would cover roughly 30 years of land conversions. And finally, he was anticipating that some bills filed in the House of Representatives may in fact prove to be worthwhile, would end up being enacted. Some of these bills want to impose a new moratorium on land conversions. I've seen some of the dates. My colleagues, in fact, know that some of them have land conversion moratoriums up to 25 years from the date of enactment. So, Mr. Secretary, knowing this, can I ask you what your views are on land conversion? Are you still implementing the moratorium for 2 years? Are you thinking of implementing an additional moratorium of more than 2 years? Are you thinking of going back and reviewing land conversions dating to 1988?
Sir, let me remind you, the shorter your answer is and the clearer you can explain, the more we know that you're certain about your answer.
Yes, ma'am. Your Honors, the law is very clear, Your Honor, that conversion is allowed under the law, under Republic Act 6657. And I will abide by the provision of the law because as a member of the Executive Department, it is mandated upon us to execute the law. Secondly, Your Honor, I believe that the moratorium that has been proposed is not inexistent, Your Honor, because that has never been approved. And so, with regards to the review of the so-called lands which have been, according to, I think the terminology is solid titles, Your Honor, I will not implement such policy because it will create more problems. It will create more disputes among our farmer beneficiaries and also landlords, landowners, I mean. So, basically, I believe that conversion as mandated by law must be properly implemented, Your Honor.
So basically your answer is no.
No, Your Honor.
you will not implement that moratorium that your predecessor had?
I will not, Your Honor.
Okay, good. All right. Second question.
Second question, will you go back 35 years?
No, Your Honor.
All right, good. So that is it. See how painless that
Let
can
me
be.
explain, Mr. Secretary. This is important for, I've been representing for many, many years an urban district. This is of immediate concern to Metro Manila districts. There are three of us here. Congressman Gatchalian, even Greater Metro Manila. But just what is described now as NCR, there are already three of us in the House contingent. Of course, there are several, even in the Senate, who may feel exactly the same way. So it is important for us to get a clear answer on this particular question.
Especially when we are encouraging